Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. I'm reviewing Netflix's original series, Altered Carbon. Altered Carbon is a cyberpunk noir series with 10 episodes, 60 minutes per episode. It's a Netflix original and is based off this book by Richard K. Morgan, the book which won the Philip K. Dick Award in 2003, so it's quite highly regarded as a really great piece of literature for the science fiction world. Later, Kalogridis, the creative mind behind Alita Battle Angel and Shutter Island, who has worked on Avatar, has teamed up with Netflix and Skyline to produce this series. I've watched all 10 episodes now, which Netflix thankfully gave us to review, and quite frankly, I'm blown away. It's so hard to put into words what this series is, but I'm going to try. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Do bear with me as I gush a little bit, but also talk to you about what they are saying in this series and creatively what they have done. So I hope you enjoyed this review. So I'm just going to jump straight in. Based around a technology that humans have created over a few hundred years, this disc that you put into the back of your neck, which can basically save what it is to be human, your mind, not your soul, and it gets uploaded to another body. So essentially you can not die in the future if you have money. So again, there's two societies. There's the really rich, which in the future are regarded almost as gods, especially the few elite. So what has happened is because you can't die, then they can upload to another body, to clones, to bodies of their choosing that can be super strong or have unique attributes to the body that they control or that they want with the money that they have. Because the rich have just keep getting richer because they're not dying. The rich get richer and the separation of the classes becomes more vast. And so you've got people called grounders, and in the future, when you're 1 year old, you get this disc in the back of your head, and if you die by accident or you manage to gather enough money, you can get another body. So you can essentially not die, but you don't get to choose. So if you're a grounder, you will probably get put into a body not of your choice. Obviously there are black markets, and the rich can get away with things that others can't, and so there you can imagine what you can do with this disc. If you can put a consciousness, a mind, into a living entity or being, the world is your creative oyster. And the story revolves around a singular character who's woken up. His name is Takeshi Kovacs. He's woken up from a 300-year slumber, obviously disorientated, and he is played by two people, the main character being Joel Kinnaman. You'll probably recognize him from the series The Killing, and RoboCop and Suicide Squad. I loved him in The Killing. That series was so dark, but he just showed that he has amazing acting chops. I'm going to use the word chops, acting chops. I thought he was phenomenal in that. So it was really great to see him playing this lead, very Blade Runner-esque character. In fact, the whole world is the best way I can describe it. If you take The Fifth Element and Blade Runner and put it in a TV series, but heighten everything. So things that we used to have as morals, the right and wrong, the lines are really blurred because we're not dying anymore. And so this character, Kovacs, wakes up from this 300-year sleep. He's pulled into this world where he has to discover who killed one of the top elite rich guys. James Purefoy plays Lawrence Bancroft, one of the wealthiest men in the settled worlds, and he pulls Kovacs to come and detect who has killed him. That's right, because he's still alive, because again he's been backed up and he's come back into his body, but he can't remember who's killed it, and the story starts off this who done it, and that is so much the beginnings of the story. It's just a slither. So the Kovacs character is very complicated. Right from the beginning, he's this guy that pretends not to like anybody, not to love anybody, not to be interested in anything except himself. He so does not want to be involved in this world, and Joel Kinnaman, who plays Kovac, I think does this so well. He just has this anti-hero thing down. So he's grumpy and broody like Harrison Ford in Blade Runner, but he knows right from wrong. So he's like the ultimate noir detective. He's perfect for this role. There are a plethora of amazingly talented multicultural cast in this series. Every episode that I watched, with each episode that came on, there were, you know, when you watch a TV series and you go, oh, I know that guy, oh, he's from that, or she's from that. They continually did this with the cast, and if I were to list all of the cast members now, I'd probably spend the next minute, but just know that they haven't skimped on their casting or the talent that is involved in acting or actresses or in this series. They've gotten people that I feel like have been in this business for a very long time. I feel like the director or the directors has allowed them to really explore their characters, and this makes for some fantastic scenes. Every episode I got to, I felt like I was going, oh, this is the best scene. No, this is the best scene in the series. No, this is the best thing. And I felt like that happened with almost 2 or 3 times in each episode. And this show doesn't skimp on the reality of what the future could be like, and I think that's why this works so well. When you take the issue of life and death away, when you can live forever, this is a reflection of what it could be. So there are graphic, gory scenes, there are torture scenes that make me cringe, and there are nasty sex scenes, and thankfully a lot of the sex scenes they show some of it and then they cut, because they obviously know that there's no need to show it all, that you get the point, you get this, you know what's happening. They don't shy away from showing you a reality of a distorted, dystopian, cyberpunk noir future. I watched a couple of episodes with my wife, and we kept remarking on how did they do this with the budget they have compared to the Blade Runner 2049 that we have now, which is regarded visually as a masterpiece that it's just beautiful and stunning. But considering the budget that they had in Blade Runner 2049, and they were able to do that in this series, is remarkable. Each episode could be held up against the cinematography of Blade Runner, which I think is fantastic. It looks brilliant. It's dazzling. It has those cyberpunk colors and, you know, just neon scenes everywhere. There are pieces of the world that I was just like, wow, that's original. The Golden Gate Bridge, for example, I think it's the Golden Gate Bridge. My geography isn't great. It's a massive bridge that looks like the Golden Gate Bridge, and they've put all these containers on it, stacked it high across the whole bridge, and that's got its separate community of, I think, part of the grounder scene. And so there's this intricate work of a real life that you feel like it's a real living world, and at no point do you go, oh, that's special effects or that's CGI. It's intertwined into the story and visually so well that you don't ever go, oh, that's bad CGI, or that doesn't look, or I don't believe it. I remember sitting forward on my seat for most of the episodes because it gets really tense. Cleverly, each episode gets to a point where it makes you want to watch. So yeah, definitely binge worthy, but you want to know what happens next. Some of the scenes are tough going, but you're so invested in all of the characters that you can't help but keep watching, unless you're doing that, because some of the torture scenes are like, whoa, what did I just see? There are drop the mic moments in this series which blew me away. It's a contained story, so you will get a complete story in these 10 episodes, although the creator later has said that they've got enough world here to create 10 seasons.
They made me bring all this back up.
This is where I think that television is beating film, because if we can continuously see series like this air at this level, then I think film is going to start to really struggle. It's a thriller masterpiece that keeps you guessing what it is. I think probably that this is done so well because Latex used the book as a blueprint, and she is so invested in the creation of this that if you asked her about any point of something in the universe, she would apparently be able to give you a 200-year history of that thing or that person. And so this translated onto screen so well. In fact, the main character, Kovacs, Joel Kinnaman, had his own idea of the character of Kovacs, and later had her own idea, and they came back together, and what happened was they were able to form their own idea, and it birthed something new. And so what we get now is this masterclass in a character that is so strong on screen that you can't help but loving, but also want to slap him. I just can't wait for people to see this. I really hope that this doesn't go above people's heads, as some great stories do. Sometimes it's just about ahead of its time and people are not ready for it. It's a wonderful ride, dark ride to behold. It's not very often that I want to go back and watch a series straight away. I did with this. Films, yes, but like for me to go, let's put episode 1 back on so I can see the things I missed. This is how I feel about Altered Carbon. I'm Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday. Please chat to me in the comments about whether you've read the book or whether you're really excited about the series. If you're watching this review when it's out, please let me know what you thought of the series so far. Thank you for watching this review. I hope you found it informative and that my gushing was a bit coherent. If you haven't subscribed now, why not do that and give us a thumbs up? Okay, bye.